What's going on, guys? It is Super Bowl Sunday. Super Bowl 47 awaits us this evening. The Baltimore Ravens representing the AFC, of course, and the San Francisco 49ers on the NFC side of things. It's Super Bowl 47. I'm here to show you guys my Madden 13 simulation of the big game this year, and I'll give you guys a little bit of an intro to set the stage for Super Bowl 47. And I only ran through this simulation on Madden one time because I wanted to do 15-minute quarters, and it took 2 hours for the computer to play this game out because they take their sweet time calling plays. And Madden 13 is not a great game for simulation, so I didn't want to beat my head against the wall, so to speak, and try to do this as many times as I could to get a good game. But here is my simulation, and first off, the Ravens are coming into this game now 10-6 in the regular season. They had a tough stretch at the end of the year where they lost 4 of their last 5 games, but they still won the AFC North. The San Francisco 49ers, on the other hand, they were NFC favorites, or at least in talks in contention for the NFC all season after a great season in 2011, and they finished the year 11-4-1. And to make it to the Super Bowl, the 49ers had to play against the Green Bay Packers in the divisional round, which they won handedly, 45-31. Kaepernick had a great game against the Green Bay defense after they beat my Minnesota Vikings in Week 1. And then the next game, they beat the Atlanta Falcons in a come-from-behind victory where the Falcons jumped out to a big early lead in the first half, and the 49ers came back to win that game 28-24 to send them to the Super Bowl. The Ravens, they had to go through 3 rounds of playoffs. They beat the Indianapolis Colts in Wild Card Weekend. Then they won a double overtime game against the Denver Broncos and knocked off the New England Patriots very handedly in Foxborough on the road. So now they're going to travel to New Orleans and they're going to take on the San Francisco 49ers, and I wanted to just talk about this matchup now for a little while. And obviously, one of the biggest storylines of this whole season now, especially during the playoffs, has been Ray Lewis's last ride in the NFL. He is retiring after this season. This will be his last NFL game unless he decides to make a comeback, and he could go out a champion now and win his 2nd Super Bowl ring. Now, I haven't been behind this whole Ray Lewis last ride thing. I mean, I've loved watching Ray Lewis, and he's had a great career, and he's one of the best linebackers and NFL players I've been able to watch, but, you know, he's already won a Super Bowl, so to me, like, I can't be sympathetic for somebody who hasn't won 2 Super Bowls. I mean, I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan. We don't have any, so I don't care if you can't get 2, you got 1. So, if you don't remember, actually, in 2001, when they beat the Giants 34-7, Ray Lewis was the MVP of that game. So he's got a ring, he's got a Super Bowl MVP. He's done everything you can do in the big game, and he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So he's had a great career, whether he wins this Super Bowl or not. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. I feel more for a guy like Ed Reed or Matt Burke. They've been more under the radar. Their careers are coming to an end. They may stick around for a couple more years, but making it to the Super Bowl is very hard, and this may be their last opportunity to win a ring. Now, on the other side, the San Francisco 49ers, the one veteran I want to win a ring there is Randy Moss, one of my favorite players of all time. And I would like to see Randy win a ring, but if the 49ers do win the game, I would like to see Randy Moss play a role in that happening, at least getting a touchdown or somehow making an impact in the game, just because I want to see Randy win a ring in that fashion. So I think during this game I will be cheering for the San Francisco 49ers. I would love to see Randy Moss get his ring. I like watching players like Patrick Willis, and Kaepernick's been a treat to watch as well ever since he took over for Alex Smith. And I think it would be really cool to see a quarterback like Colin Kaepernick come out of nowhere, start in the middle of the season, lead his team to the Super Bowl, and then win it. That would be awesome, I think. On the other side, though, Joe Flacco, remember when he said that he was the best quarterback in the NFL? Well, now he's carried, or hasn't carried, but he's helped bring the Ravens to the Super Bowl. He's played a big role in that happening, and I think we have a great Super Bowl matchup, actually. There's 2 teams that have been defensively minded, and I think that we're going to see a great game, personally. And there are a handful of players on each side that I think could make a big impact in the game and are kind of X factors. And the one for San Francisco, I'm going to say, is Colin Kaepernick, obviously. He is a very young quarterback. This is his 2nd year in the league, his 1st year as a starter. He's only started half the year, and he's been such a great player. And one of the things about Kaepernick is that he is such a good runner, but at the same time, he's a great passer. He can make all the throws, he can throw on the run, and that's why I like the 49ers in this game. I think Kaepernick gives them an advantage against Baltimore, especially if he decides to take off. Now, last week we saw what he can do in the pocket when he's asked to throw the ball. They were down by a couple of scores early. They needed to get the ball down the field quickly, and they did it in the air, and I love that because Kaepernick can do it all. He can run, he can pass, and I think he does everything effectively. And because he's such a balanced quarterback, he can do these things very well. I would like to see the 49ers come out with the approach of they want to spread the field out with a passing game to open up the running game. If they can try to get Randy Moss down the field deep, if they can try to use Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis is another player that can have a big impact in this game because his speed is hard to contain. And if they can use him to open up the middle of the field and get the linebackers out of the way, then you put Colin Kaepernick one-on-one with one of those linebackers, maybe Ray Lewis, then you create some interesting situations, and also you have Frank Gore, a power runner up the middle, and then you also have Michael Crabtree, who can be your short yardage, intermediate type of receiver, and he can win a lot of one-on-one battles, and he's had a great season. So on the matchups, I really like the way the 49ers match up against the Ravens. That's the way I look at it right now. And then on the flip side for the Ravens, one of the guys I like in this game a lot is a guy who I actually have the Super Bowl coin-up card for in Madden Ultimate Team, and that is Torrey Smith. Now, we saw last week Julio Jones abused that 49ers secondary, especially early. And Torrey Smith, we saw him burn Champ Bailey against the Broncos. He's had a big role in them getting to the Super Bowl. I like to see Torrey Smith go deep on this defense and try to beat Deshaun Goldson, Dante Whitner, and get behind the defense and try to open up that running game a little bit more. That's going to be the main guy I'm looking for on their offense, but also Ray Rice. If he can be a consistent runner, that can be good enough as well. They have Anquan Bolden. He's gone off in this playoffs. Now, I've been extremely impressed with the way Anquan's played. He, Torrey Smith, Ray Rice, they're the main guys on offense, and also Joe Flacco. If he can deliver some nice deep balls to Torrey Smith, they can definitely have a shot at winning this game. Now, mind you, I won't be surprised if either team wins this game. Obviously, I'm thinking the 49ers are going to win. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, and I think that's going to be a good game the whole way through. On the defensive side of the ball, I want to see anybody for the Ravens that can contain Colin Kaepernick and try to force some turnovers, because that's one of the things I think the Ravens need to have in order to beat the 49ers. I think they have to win the turnover battle, and they have to get some short fields and some easy opportunities to score. San Fran is such a good defense, and I like the way they match up against Baltimore's offense, except for I think Torrey Smith may have the ability to beat them deep. And because these two teams have been defensively minded now for so long, I want to see which team is the more physical team on defense. Physicality can mean a lot in a football game. I watched the Vikings for the 49ers in Week 3 of this season, and the Vikings beat them because they out-physicaled the 49ers and they beat them at their own game. I've never seen the Vikings play that physical, and they brought their A-game against the Niners. Now, if the Ravens bring that same intensity, they can rally the ball carrier, they can get pressure on Colin Kaepernick, excuse me. It's a different situation now with being the Super Bowl, not Week 3. But if they can rattle Kaepernick and if they can play physical football, I mean, they're going to have to match the 49ers' physicality on defense. There's no doubt about that in my mind. And I think both teams are going to be ready to play on defense, so I'm personally expecting kind of a lower scoring game. I've thought for a while thinking maybe the 49ers will win this game like 33-30. But 2 weeks is a lot of time to prepare for an offense like the 49ers, and I think that the 2 weeks benefits the defense more than the offense, so perhaps they found the way to contain Colin Kaepernick. If they can contain Colin Kaepernick, then they're going to force him to beat him with his arm, and I have confidence that he can do that because I'm not really scared of a lot of guys in the secondary. I think Corey Graham and Kerry Williams are solid. They have Ed Reed, of course, and Bernard Pollard, but I like the 49ers in this game because I think that they're a balanced offense with Colin Kaepernick. They have the ability to play from behind. They showed that last week against the Falcons, and I just think they have too much talent, too much speed with Vernon Davis and Colin Kaepernick. And if they can exploit the weaknesses and the matchup advantages they have against the Ravens, I think they'll win this game. Now, for the Ravens to win this game, obviously I've talked about they have to win the turnover battle. I also think that they have to get some big plays with Torrey Smith and the deep ball to work. That, or they have to get some defensive scores. I think they have to be a little bit more creative with the way they get their points, and they may have to take more chances, which could backfire and end up giving the game to the 49ers. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I am predicting the 49ers to win their 6th Super Bowl title in 6 games. In my simulation, the 49ers had a dominant victory. I don't expect any sort of domination tomorrow. I'm taking San Francisco by a score of 23-20. Give me your score predictions in the comment section, and thank you for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoy the Super Bowl, and I'll see you guys later.